On the 1st of August 1759, British and Hanoverian forces defeated the French cavalry at the Battle of Minden. The battle was one of the greatest Allied victories of the 7 Years' War. Among the British forces at this battle were the 51st Regiment. This regiment later became the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry, known as the KOYLI. At the battle, British soldiers were said to have picked roses and wore them in their hats. This became a tradition for regiments who fought at the battle, with soldiers wearing roses or laurels on Minden Day, the anniversary of the battle. Minden Day celebrations for the KOYLI often involved sporting events, meals and parades, and as the regiment travelled the world, so did these traditions. The war diaries from the First World War show that Minden Day was celebrated on the Western Front. In August 1915, men of the 1st Battalion were in the trenches, and they were given roses that had been sent from England. Men of the 2nd Battalion were in camp in Belgium in 1918 and marked the day with a series of sporting events with an extra special treat of a free pint of beer with their dinner. In 1925, the 1st Battalion were based at Dover Castle. Due to space restrictions, they could not have their usual large-scale parade for Minden Day, but instead had a smaller parade with white roses and saluted the regimental colour. A special battalion order was issued by Lieutenant Colonel Thorpe, which ended with, "The regiment has not forgotten that it shared in the glory of Minden." In 1945, the 2nd 4th Battalion of the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry celebrated Minden Day in Austria. The activity programme for the day included a football match, a horse show, a cooking competition, a dog show, an obstacle race and musical chairs. The 2nd Battalion were based in Germany in August of 1945, so took the opportunity to have a special Minden Day celebration of their own. They travelled to Minden and celebrated in the historic town itself. They paraded in Minden at noon before returning to their base for a dance and again, free beer. 1955 was an important year for the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry. It was the 200th anniversary of the creation of the regiment, and as such, Minden Day that year was a special occasion. Roger Preston was serving with the KOYLI during this time and remembers Minden Day.
At that time, I was newly commissioned and waiting to be sent to the 1st Battalion in Kenya. And this Minden Day, 1955, was very special and celebrated at the depot, which in those days was in Strensall, near York. Our Colonel-in-Chief, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, spent the day with us. She inspected the guard of recruits outside York Minster and then attended the service in the Minster, attended by 900 people. We all returned to Strensall for lunch, after which Her Majesty visited various marquees on the cricket ground with differing activities, meeting soldiers and their families. The day ended with an all-ranks Minden Day ball. Other events over the time I can remember Minden Day cover Cyprus, Germany and Malaya. Each year was different, depending on whether the battalion was deployed on operations or not. When in barracks, the day was a holiday and followed a standard pattern. A battalion parade in the morning, everybody wearing white roses. A series of sporting events during the day. The Minden Ball hosted by the Warrant Officers and Sergeants' Mess, to which all officers and their wives were guests. There were variations. On one occasion in Cyprus, the officers' mess set up a lunch table on the beach near Kyrenia with white roses on the table.
Although the KOYLI ceased to exist in 1968, and the army has been through lots of reorganisation since then, Minden Day is still celebrated by many regiments with the wearing of roses. In 2018, the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry Memorial statue was unveiled in Elmfield Park, Doncaster, on Minden Day, marking 50 years since the regiment ceased to exist. And now, as well as being Minden Day, the 1st of August is Yorkshire Day. If you have any memories of celebrating Minden Day with the KOYLI, we would love to hear from you. Leave us a comment below or send us an email to koyli@doncaster.gov.uk.